In 2021, California faced a reckoning. The state, known for its sunny skies and golden hills, was gripped by an unprecedented crisis. Governor Gavin Newsom issued an urgent plea: reduce water use by 15%. The call to action was clear. Every drop counted. The state was in the throes of a devastating drought, the worst in over a century. Rivers ran dry and the earth cracked under the relentless sun. Reservoirs dwindled and the land thirsted for relief. Farmers watched helplessly as their crops withered and communities faced strict water rationing. This was not a new story for California. The state had a long history of battling droughts, each one leaving its mark on the land and its people. For over 2 decades, the state had grappled with persistent dry spells. Year after year, the rains failed to come and the reservoirs shrank. But the severity of this drought was a stark reminder of California's vulnerability to the whims of nature. The land, once fertile and lush, now lay barren and desolate. Just as Californians adapted to scarcity, the skies opened up. Dark clouds gathered, and the first drops of rain fell on the parched earth. Torrential rains lashed the state in late 2022 and early 2023. Streets turned into rivers, and the dry land struggled to absorb the sudden deluge. The once parched land transformed into a scene of raging rivers and flooded towns. Homes were inundated, and lives were upended by the relentless waters. The whiplash between drought and deluge underscored a crucial reality. California's climate is not just changing, it's becoming more extreme. The state swung from one extreme to another, leaving little time for recovery. This erratic weather pattern poses an unprecedented challenge to managing the state's most precious resource. Water management systems, designed for a more predictable climate, struggled to cope with the new reality. The floods, while offering some respite, were a stark reminder of the state's vulnerability. Homes were damaged, and communities faced the daunting task of rebuilding. The deluge exposed the limitations of California's aging water infrastructure. Dams and levees built decades ago were pushed to their limits. Dams built for a different era struggled to contain the excess flow. The infrastructure, once a symbol of progress, now showed its age. Levees breached, and communities faced the devastating consequences. The waters, once a source of life, now brought destruction. These events served as a wake-up call. The state could no longer rely on outdated systems and needed to innovate to protect its future. California had to rethink its approach to water, not just for today, but for a future marked by both drought and deluge. Officials and communities came together to plan and build a more resilient system. The Golden State found itself at a crossroads, needing to adapt to a climate in flux and secure its water future. The journey ahead was challenging, but with innovation and determination, California aimed to turn its vulnerabilities into strengths. California's water system is a marvel of engineering, a testament to human ambition. This intricate network of dams, reservoirs, and aqueducts has been the lifeline for the state, ensuring that nearly 40 million people have access to water, and that millions of acres of farmland remain fertile and productive. A vast network of dams, reservoirs, and aqueducts quench the thirst of nearly 40 million people and irrigate millions of acres of farmland. These structures, built with the vision of a prosperous future, have been pivotal in transforming California into an agricultural powerhouse and a hub of urban development. Yet this intricate system, built in the 20th century, is showing its age. The infrastructure, once state-of-the-art, now faces numerous challenges. Cracks in dams and drying reservoir beds are visible signs of a system under strain, struggling to meet the demands of a growing population and the pressures of a changing climate. It was designed for a climate that no longer exists and for a population far smaller than today's. The original planners could not have foreseen the rapid urban expansion and the significant shifts in weather patterns that we are experiencing now. As cities expand and the climate warms, the system's limitations become increasingly apparent. The state's major reservoirs like Lake Shasta and Lake Oroville were built to capture snowmelt from the Sierra Nevada mountains. These reservoirs were once reliable sources of water, filling up with the spring thaw and providing a steady supply throughout the dry summer months. But as climate change disrupts traditional weather patterns, these reservoirs are increasingly unreliable. The once predictable cycles of snow and melt are now erratic, with some years bringing too little snow and others too much rain, leading to dry reservoirs and unpredictable water supplies. Warmer temperatures mean less snowpack, reducing the water available for storage. The snow that does fall melts more quickly, leading to a mismatch between when water is available and when it is needed most. The timing of precipitation is also changing, with more rain falling as winter storms instead of gentle spring snow. These intense winter storms can lead to rapid runoff, overwhelming the capacity of reservoirs and leading to water being lost to the ocean instead of being stored for future use. These intense storms overwhelm the state's aging infrastructure, leading to increased runoff and flooding. Urban areas with their vast expanses of concrete are particularly vulnerable, as they lack the natural absorption capacity of undeveloped land. The system's limitations are further compounded by its reliance on groundwater. Groundwater has long been a critical backup during dry periods, but over-reliance on this resource has led to significant problems. During droughts, when surface water supplies dwindle, farmers and communities turn to groundwater pumping to meet their needs. This practice, while essential for survival, has led to the over-extraction of groundwater, depleting aquifers faster than they can naturally recharge. This overdraft has depleted aquifers faster than they can recharge, causing land subsidence and seawater intrusion. Land subsidence, where the ground sinks due to the removal of underground water, can damage infrastructure and reduce the capacity of aquifers to store water in the future. The consequences are dire, threatening the long-term viability of agriculture and the stability of the land itself. As the ground sinks, it can lead to the tilting of structures, cracking of roads, and other significant damage that is costly to repair. California's water infrastructure, once a symbol of progress, is now struggling to keep up with a changing climate and growing population. The state faces a critical juncture: invest in modernizing its water systems or face increasing challenges in managing its most precious resource. The future of California's water security depends on the decisions made today. Amidst the challenges, a glimmer of hope emerges in the form of the Sites Reservoir project. This ambitious initiative is seen by many as a potential game-changer in the ongoing struggle to manage California's water resources effectively. This proposed off-stream reservoir, located in Northern California, aims to capture and store excess water from the Sacramento River during wet years, when water is abundant and often wasted. By doing so, it seeks to create a buffer against the increasingly frequent and severe droughts that plague the region, making it available during times of drought. This strategic approach could transform how water is managed, ensuring that communities, agriculture, and ecosystems have a reliable water supply even in the driest of years. Unlike traditional reservoirs, sites would not rely solely on snowmelt, making it more resilient to climate change. This is particularly important as climate patterns shift, reducing the reliability of snowpack as a water source. The project has garnered support from a diverse coalition of stakeholders, including farmers, environmental groups, and urban water agencies. Each group sees the potential benefits of a more stable and predictable water supply. Proponents argue that Sites Reservoir is essential for enhancing California's water storage capacity and improving drought resilience. They believe that by capturing excess water during wet periods, the reservoir can help mitigate the impacts of future droughts. They point to its potential to benefit both the environment and the economy, providing water for agriculture, cities, and ecosystems during dry spells. This multifaceted approach aims to balance the needs of different water users, ensuring that no single group bears the brunt of water shortages and ecosystems during dry spells. By maintaining water levels in rivers and streams, the project could also support fish and wildlife, which are often the first to suffer during droughts. However, the project is not without its critics. Some environmental groups raise concerns about the potential impacts on fish and wildlife habitat. They worry that altering the natural flow of rivers could have unintended consequences for the delicate ecosystems that depend on them. Some environmental groups raise concerns about the potential impacts on fish and wildlife habitat. They argue that the construction and operation of the reservoir could disrupt the natural flow of rivers, affecting the species that rely on these habitats. Others question the high cost of construction and the potential for the reservoir to encourage unsustainable water use in the long term. They argue that investing in water conservation and efficiency measures might be a more sustainable and cost-effective approach. Despite the debate, the Sites Reservoir project represents a significant step towards addressing California's water challenges. It embodies the kind of bold thinking and innovative solutions that are needed to secure the state's water future. It highlights the need for bold and innovative solutions to secure the state's water future in the face of a changing climate. As California continues to grapple with the realities of climate change, Projects like Sites Reservoir could play a crucial role in ensuring a sustainable and resilient water supply for generations to come.